Dean, you were head of trading for Martin and Co. Nearly 300 branches. What does a good property manager look like?
For me, a good property manager is firstly someone who can talk to people. Again,
I thought that was the valuers.
well, it's a changing game out there, Chris. Historically, I think property managers, if you walked into a stereotypical lettings office,
Out the back,
upstairs,
tick boxes,
off-site, hidden away. And I'm not saying they need to be frontline, but they need to be able to have a conversation. There's one particular business I know that their property manager, I'm not even sure she's there anymore, but their property manager refused to talk to anybody.
Don't do customers.
Don't do customers. If you want,
Don't do people.
Yeah, exactly. It's all over email. Now, don't get me wrong. Email is fantastic in terms of confirming a conversation and an audit trail, but have the relationship first, because sometimes, as we know, you receive a text or you send a text or an email or whatever. It's the recipient that will interpret the tone of that message,
Indeed.
no matter what intention it's been sent with. But at least if you can have the conversation first with them, a lot of times that can dull down the aggression, the frustration. They understand they're talking to a human. And, although it's a frustrating time, and it can be.
But that's really tough, because what makes a good property manager is the fact that they're detail orientated, they're concise, they get the job done. People with those skills don't tend to have good people skills, or not as good as the valuers.
No, and I don't think they need to have that. They're not selling, they're not promoting.
Yeah.
It's an advisory role. It's an investigative role, if I can say that correctly. What the property manager has to do is be able to have to understand the issue from the tenant. And I know, we talked about software and so forth, and there's systems built into certain softwares that will feed issues in. And of course, the key thing is, I just react on the number and get on with it. But actually, if we can pick up the phone and say, I've had this issue in, talk to me about it, talk me through it, what's gone on, and if they can then throw some questions, that might actually mitigate them having to spend any of their landlord's money.
True.
It's just sense checking a few things.
What else makes a good property manager?
I do think attention to detail.
Has to be.
It has to be, and I think even more so nowadays with legislation, and of course that all changed when serving notice a while ago. I think attention to detail and having an understanding. You've not a jack of all trades, but if someone
you're asking them to go out their comfort zone and be a people person,
yeah,
and at the same time they have to be a detailed person to get the job done.
Yeah,
it's a hard job. Do you think they get paid enough?
Well, do any of us ever get paid enough, Chris? We know that in a lot of cases we do this for the love. And if we can pay the bills, fantastic. Do they get paid enough? Who knows? I think there's ways in which that can change, because if they are, there are selling opportunities within the property management role without them actually selling.
I'm with you. Where do you think bosses of property managers go wrong in managing property managers?
I think they just park them out the back, and as long as there's no problems, it's potentially brush it under the carpet.
What do you think bosses could do to motivate their property managers better?
I think first and foremost, take a massive interest in what they do. By nature of the role, it's a negative role, because people don't call you up.
Firefighting, aren't you?
Yeah, people don't call you up and say, Chris, I just wanted to let you know my apartment is fantastic.
Don't they do that?
No, surprisingly not. And if we could find tenants that did, then wouldn't property managers' jobs be a bit easier? But I think if they can try and turn it into a fun role, is probably a bit strong, but recognising the fact of, by having a good relationship and communicating well with tenants, we know that tenants will be straight onto Google and Trustpilot and Facebook and all those negative review.
And let's be honest, most estate agency bosses tend to be systems orientated, but don't want to get involved with the minutiae and the boredom, which is what a lot of the property manager's job is all about. Mm. What advice would you give to property managers on how to get the most out of their boss, So I'm looking at it the other way around.
I think how to get the most out of their boss is they go to their bosses saying, I want to have a weekly review meeting with you or a daily review meeting with you, 5-10 minutes, just to let you know where we're at in terms of the property management department.
So they take responsibility and they go to the boss.
Yeah, if you sit there and wait for the boss to come to you, the boss is busy. It's not just property management he or she is managing. They've got an entire business to manage. They will find their way to you eventually, but could that be too late? So I think if you are proactive in that, because remember, as a property management manager, you are the gatekeeper. That managed income is coming in every month. So if the frontline guys and girls are having a tough month, the bills are being paid because you're protecting that income. Yeah, we know some tenants fall on tough times and we have arrears and so forth, but at least if you're being proactive in that and you're having those discussions with people and managing that process, you are the gatekeeper. And also you could be spotting opportunities.
Indeed.
Because when the tenants are moving out, where are they going to? Fantastic. Regular communication with landlords. And when I mean regular, it could be a couple of times over the term of a tenancy. But why aren't they having a portfolio review with them every year? Where are you looking to buy your next property?
But that's not their job, is it?
Well, while they've got the relationship with the landlord because they've got a tenant in their property, why not at least have the conversation with them? Well, Chris, I'm thinking of buying in Village Y in the next 6 months. Fantastic. Tell you what I'll do. I'll get Dean the Neg to give you a call, get an understanding of what the level of investment and what you're looking for, and maybe they can start looking. So we become a bit of a portfolio resourcing service for them as well.
Well, and means that, how many times have you heard a landlord have properties even on the market with another agent and that you don't even know? But by having that conversation, you'll find out.
Exactly.
Interesting. Dino, thank you.
Cheers, Chris.